You know, it's interesting too is that that high risk, high return strategy is also not that common among men. It's just that the people who do the high risk, high return strategy are disproportionately men. And so one of the things that I've been trying to struggle with is that, like, there's a small number of people who are hyper productive in any discipline. That's the Price's Law phenomenon. So you see, for example, in scientific publishing, the median number of publications for men and women is very similar, the median number. But the people who hyper publish are almost all men.
Yeah, the Telemans of science,
exactly,
for example.
or that's right, the JS box of science, right? And then the painful part of that is that it's the people, it looks like it's the people who are hyper productive that drive the science forward. So the median types are actually somewhat irrelevant. Yeah, it's only the hyper productive people that count, and they're disproportionately men.
But even then, you said, I've heard you on this point. I want to take issue. Is Kurt Gödel hyper productive, or was he? And I would say, yes, he was. Did he publish very much? Almost nothing. Well,
quantity isn't the best index of quality, but it's a pretty good one.
I don't think so.
It's correlated at 0.3 with citation count, independent of number of publications.
Citation count is also,
I know.
We've got a really dangerous problem in that the metrics that we've developed, we've put way too much on. And
you could say that that's a universal problem. Be careful what you measure, right? And I mean, it's hard to measure scientific impact with any degree of credibility.
This is why I'm so unpopular in this area, which is I just believe in giving slush funds to highly disagreeable people of high achievement and saying, go figure out who you want to fund, because a lot of this stuff can't be justified by any metric. And by the way,
that's why I'm big on the selection end of things. You should select qualified people and leave them the hell alone.
Well, I mean,
you guys should be working together on this.
I mean, my take on this is that the best way to get radical progress is stop worrying about the median individual, worry about the tiny number of people who break new ground for everybody, and then you find those.
That's a hell of a thing for a leftist to say. But I mean, this goes back.
Stay tuned.
Well, it goes back. It goes back to the problem I laid out at the beginning: is that if you're going to pursue things of value in a social environment, you're going to produce a hierarchy, and there's going to be hyper productivity at the pinnacle of the hierarchy. It's a big problem. But if you want to produce things, that's the problem you have to contend with. And so it is the case that in most fields that are attempting to advance rapidly, that it's a very tiny proportion of people who are doing the advancing. And how could it be otherwise?
Well,
because otherwise everybody would be doing the advancing.
So I have this trick.
IQ is a good measure.
Well, here's another one. You ask the leaders in the field effectively who they would block, but they will not publicly short. So in other words, Joe's on some crazy tangent. He's wasting the department's resources, or Jane fundamentally doesn't play well on this team, and I think we need to send her a strong message. Okay, well, why don't we say something publicly about it? No, I don't want to say that. Well, why is it that you don't want to say something? Well, because you're frightened that that person has you on the losing end of history. So you're trying to block that person in private, but you won't short them in public.
Right.
So you use the people who fundamentally are the regular establishment to tell you who the most dangerous people are. And you get those people money, and you try to decrease transparency and accountability. Because giving people freedom, the old part of this bargain was it's not the best paid career in the world, but you do end up with freedom and the ability to wield the middle finger.
Yeah, and that's gone.
And that's gone.
The ethics committees have killed that.
Well, that's my point. Is that
bureaucracies have killed. It's gone. It's so gone, man.
But it is our job to rally for unaccountability at a very high level. Lack of transparency. You can laugh, but let's go through this, right? The fact is, when you have a slush fund and you can make decisions that you don't have to justify based on an H index or a citation count or any of these poison metrics, you get people who are able to make use of what we still have over places like China. What we have over a place like China is we're a little bit richer, not much maybe.
So but we're freer.
But we're freer. And that middle finger, that blessed middle finger.
Well, that's disagreeableness there again.
Well, I know. And I mean, you were the one who accused me over dinner.
See, this is also why tenure is necessary, because you could say, well, 95%, I don't believe this, but you could say 95% of people waste tenure. They take advantage of it. And I would say that's fine as long as the 5% who aren't taking advantage of it have their freedom, because they're going to hyper-produce and justify all the rest of that expense.
Yeah, but nobody has